Hey, welcome to the process. My name is Dr. John Bush. Week 10 is upon us. This is a video of my article at the scienceoffantasyfootball.com. Check it out. I'm going to hit a few aspects of this. You can hear this, and the other parts you can dig and use your visual skills and apply some deeper thinking. Anyway, if you're familiar with how my approach is, I use multiple data streams, usually from a top-down my process going down, and I use and try to imagine what the game script will be, the amount of points, the back and forth. Is it going to be a blowout? How tough are the defenses? Are there any bright spots, any spots of concern? I do my rankings with my uncertainty analysis of each player. Okay. High uncertainty is certainly not as good as low uncertainty for rankings. Again, using the defense against the position in Vegas, letting Vegas at least frame the game from their point of view, not that we may fall lock and step with that, but that gives us at least thinking a goal to shoot at and consider the data within that frame. So I have blocks of information, my Vegas and scoring info, looking for high scoring type games. I call them high point scoring games versus low scoring games. We're talking 49, 48 above or 42 or less. Those should be the extremes. More points usually is more fantasy football goodness. Low points, the opposite. Also look at the game spread. Is this going to be a back and forth, which is usually good? Or is this going to be a blowout, which can get tricky because then you're talking garbage time, hopes and dreams for the underdog, and things can get really thin and can get sad for some of your picks under those conditions. Also have defense against the position table. I look at each team, look at their opponent, kind of colorize the opponent. Green is very easy, red is very tough. Is it a home versus away? And there are some teams that are really skewed in their home versus away efficiency. Check out my snaps report that gives you that information. The overall defense against position, certainly we are looking and focusing on easy versus tough scenarios, looking at the different positions, the RB, QB, WRTE. Kicker and defenses, at least imagine some of the top tough spots or the easy spots. And then I give my rankings for each team. And you look at the position. My rankings are my Fantasy Sports Professor rankings and the uncertainty level that I've assigned to the player just for this week. The rankings go from 100 or so, the best. Kind of anything above 75 is I envision a tier 1 of that position, so an RB1, WR1, TE1. And 74 to 50 is a 2. And really anything below 50, I'm not sure I hang my hat on a 3 or a 4 and trying to say I understand kind of what goes on. I think it gets really murky at some point deep into the rankings. I don't care what people say. I got this one at a 13 and I got this one at a 20. To me, they're both telling me the same story, care what your rankings say. And then I assign the high, the average, or the low uncertainty. Certainly, low uncertainty, I think the rankings tend to be a lot safer. High uncertainty players will be less safe, and the rankings will be less safe to consider. You can think of it as a range of outcome, floor to ceiling, right? High uncertainty, that's going to be really tall. Could be really better than you think or really worse, but that's probably rare, right? So you're thinking that the range of outcomes, though, will be broad. And so it can be very sad to pretty good, right? You just don't know. So a high ranked, low uncertainty player would be better than a high ranked, high uncertainty player. If that's that's what you're choosing in your lineups and daily fantasy sports options here. Okay, next thing, and I will talk about this. It's 6 minutes in, so we got time. I try to go about 20 minutes or so because that's probably even past what you want to spend on my babbling here. But I do appreciate the one or two that listen. Yay, thank you. Hope I help. Because if I don't help, and again, use your fantasy diary, then, don't, don't listen to me. Find somebody else that works for you. Team power rankings. I consider each team and the players I've ranked this week, the uncertainty, the Vegas, everything kind of like gumbo, right? Everything's put together and then it kind of comes out. The top players, the top teams with high power rankings in week 10 are listed in green, and I've got them listed here, and the lower ones in red. So the top teams this week: San Francisco, Philadelphia, Buffalo, Miami, Dallas, Kansas City, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay even made it this time. So some of those are the usual suspects, some are not. So just maybe this week is the matchup is interesting. Bottom team is Washington, Green Bay, Tennessee, Indianapolis, Carolina, and Houston. Those are the ones I would be concerned about. Again, doesn't mean you can't play various players from the bottom ranked teams or the top rank. I just think it kind of sets the stage. I do have numbers, but I think it's better to think about grouping more than just absolute numbers here. But anyway, I do have that listed. You can look at that, and I even graph it for you. So if you want to see the intensity of the rankings here, you can kind of see that and see what it's kind of all about this week here a little bit, and you can kind of see where your teams fall. And then I look at the uncertainty team levels. Red are those teams that are higher uncertainty, so I'm not quite sure what we're going to get here, right? It's like, well, what is this flavor here of this pie? Well, I don't know. Bite in and find out. Well, it could be dirt pie or it could be ambrosia pie. You don't know what you're getting here. And this week, I think those teams are the Rams, the Giants, Pittsburgh, Green Bay, the Chargers, Houston, Atlanta, and Washington. High uncertainty. You're not sure what the hell you're going to get out of those. And on the other hand, the lower uncertainty teams that I think we can better get a handle on are Chicago, Kansas City, New Orleans. How about that? Dallas, Detroit, San Francisco, Buffalo, and Seattle. And lower uncertainty. The only thing with some of this, like for instance, my uncertainty with Detroit, have terrible home away splits. Their efficiency, Detroit's efficiency away is sad. It's the worst in the league almost. So even though I've got them as low uncertainty, that flies in the face of the home away split. So that is the conundrum and the art side of fantasy football metrics, right? You have something that says a positive, something that says a negative, and which one are we weighing against? Sometimes in some of my matchups, Vegas will kind of say one thing, but my defense against position says maybe something else, and that's confusing. And that really, I have found, is worrisome. So even though I have Detroit down, it's still my level of concern remains very high. That kind of thing. So you're never done, even though you want to be done, and it's just like, wow, I need to hurry up and do. You're never done. That's why you're even the minute before the roster's lock, you're thinking, and you should be. And this will wear you out, and there is some type of decision fatigue, and you need to find that limit for you. For me, I have a high level before I hit fatigue. Okay, because think about it. I've been doing lots of deeper thinking and science, basically since I was a teenager. Okay, I started as a biology major and then got my master's and PhD, and now I'm a professor and now a full professor. So since I started college in 77, so 1977. So what is that? That's about, oh my goodness, 23 and was it 45 years? Yeah, so 45 years of lots of decisions and thinking and considerations. Okay, so that does, people say, well, you get old, you get, wore out. And no, I think wisdom does come with age. We all want to think that. So I have a high level of fatigue. Takes a lot to really wear me out. 50 leagues is pretty much 50, 60, I think. I probably should try 100 one year and keep my, diary and see what, am I just wore out at that point? What is my limit? I don't think I know it, but you keep your diary and maybe 10 teams is your limit or something. Hey, if it doesn't work for you, don't do it. Okay, uncertainty levels, we talked about that. You can look at, I plotted that so you can see, look at Seattle versus the Rams. Look at what is that about? 10 versus 1, so 10 times more uncertainty for the Rams than I do Seattle, Buffalo. So I'm feeling really good about some of those, but I do worry about Detroit there because of that, the split thing. So you can take a look at that. Okay, 13 minutes. Okay, I got 7 more minutes to run my mouth. High point scoring this week. Okay, we did do this in our podcast, our weekend edition, Science of Fantasy Football podcast. So you can hear Dennis and myself debating the merits of these 3 games here. 48 to 50 points. That's usually good. I do note that the Chiefs and Jaguars, it's 10-point split. The other 2 are more back and forth. So I haven't done as much research on exactly what does that mean for fantasy yet. Okay. And as far as I know, nobody's got that data out there. And if feel free to tweet me on Twitter or whatever if you know somebody that's done a study. That's the thing. You see these questions and you're thinking, boy, I wish somebody had time to do this. I'm still waiting. Why am I the only one having to do this? Of course, a lot of this, what I want may be behind paywalls. So I don't, I do acknowledge there may be lots of secret stuff out there because I got secret stuff too, right? I'm not telling you everything. hey, I may want to get serious with daily fantasy down the road. So, a lot of money on the table. So I think everybody's got secret stuff. Okay. Let's talk about then back and forth games. Bears, Lions, Dolphins, Browns. Let's do what is going on? City, Dolphins, Browns, Bears, Lions. Okay, Bears, Lions. Game 4 of the week. So Chicago faces an easy Detroit. Look at that. It is, here's my pointer here. Look at this. All across here. Wow. Play them all day long. And maybe even stream the Chicago defense this week. So Field should continue. It's a home game. It all seems good. Play them if you got them. That's what it looks to me. Okay, that's what it's telling me. Detroit, Chicago's a little bit tougher, but the running game, Swift should be okay. Easy. So it looks like it's going to be a lot of running. And if it's back and forth, it may be a balanced kind of thing. As long as I think Detroit can stay in the mix, this may be a balanced game and we'll get a lot of points from both sides. I'm a little worried about Amon St. Brown. Look at that tough. And I don't know who the tight ends are now. They've traded away Hawkinson, but whoever that is tough. But the quarterback has an okay. Goff has an easy thing, but I don't know who he's going to pass to. Maybe the Swift or somebody out of the backfield, maybe. Could be. The Vegas says the Bears whooped their butt, but only by 2.5. So the home efficiency, the home away with Detroit does not make sense with Vegas, does not make sense with my uncertainty levels. So this is one of those where I've got two errors pointing in different directions here. To me, that says be cautious. So I'm going to be very conservative with my Detroit players this week, and I urge you to be conservative as well. Chicago, I feel a lot more happy about and would be a lot more robust in some of my playing there. Okay, Dolphins-Brown figures the Dolphins over the Browns, but by 4 points, so it should be a back and forth. Cleveland faces an easy Miami. Easy for the running, so Chubb runs roughshod over them. That's good. The quarterback, Brissett, and the tight end. If Njoku can come back, that really says good news for him in that connection. The wide receivers going to have to earn a little bit of their biscuits Sunday there. It's below average tough. It's not impossible, though. It's just a light red. So Cooper I'm fine with, but I'm not sure if I play anybody else. I don't know about the Peoples-Jones. He has been catching a lot of passes. I just don't know what that means. I'm going to be conservative on his usage. I'm not saying I'm not playing him. I'm just saying conservative. Miami should have a fairly good time with Cleveland D. Jeff Wilson and Mostert, not sure who's getting the main play, but each one should have an opportunity. Tyreek Hill, Waddle, look at that, above average easy. The quarterback, too, is going to have to probably run and scramble a little bit. Looks like they're a little tough on the quarterbacks, but I think he can do it. Probably not on Gesicki this week. Of course, Gesicki will have lots of touchdowns. But right now, I'm looking to not play Gesicki given that tough Cleveland D against the tight end here. Not playing any of the defenses. Okay. Jacksonville versus Kansas City says play Jacksonville players all day long. Okay, ETN, lots and lots. Okay, Lawrence should do well. The Jones brothers should do well for wide receivers. Ingram, if he's healthy, play him all day. Looks like play, play, play. Kansas City, play, 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 except for Kelce. Look at that tough. How does Jacksonville play the tight end tough? And Dennis and I give you a preview. We talked about that. And his comment was Kelce's not a traditional tight end. He plays like a wide receiver. So I should interpret this to mean that Kelce will have a much easier than the traditional tight ends that Jacksonville has played. So if you buy that, then it's play them all day long. Juju, Hartman, Kelce all day, Mahomes running. So the only thing when I look at the DAPs and look at the Vegas says Jacksonville's not going to keep up with them. This data would suggest Jacksonville can and will push the Chiefs even further. High scoring game of the week. But Vegas says the Chiefs are just so dominant, and I'm just not sure I'm buying that scenario. So we got an error pointing to something a little different. That it's a little bit of a trick there. I think I'm going to be a little bit greedy with my Jags this week. I'm going to probably play them. Maybe I get burned. So I'm not 100% on board. I think the Chiefs will win, no doubt. I'm just not buying this spread. The DAPs are telling me that spread's a little funny. So I guess if you're a betting person, maybe that's to bet. I don't know. I don't know quite how to. I've never placed a sports bet before. Placed horse racing bets, but not spread bets like that. Okay. Well, it's 22 minutes in. I've said enough of my time. You can look, and I'll just go through. Here's an example of Chicago and the Detroit game. The Bears defense, here's average, and it's 30, so you don't want to play him. Santos, you don't want to play him. 42. Anything below 50, I'm probably not. Fields should be an all-day sucker at 90, one of the top quarterbacks of the week. Montgomery figures to be an RB2. Herbert, a 3-4 type, but Montgomery is high uncertainty, so we're not quite sure what we're getting here, but you probably have to play him. Mooney and Claypool. Claypool could do better than that 43. You know, I'm not quite sure how he fits in yet. I don't think anybody, regardless how they go ranking. So that's probably a conservative ranking, and he might even go past Mooney. I think Mooney's a WR2, so Claypool could be that as well, and their average uncertainty. So I would probably lean to play both of those this week, but average uncertainty is conservative. Cole Kmet should be a tight end 2 this week. Has some, could do better because there is Detroit is a little bit lacking on all that. See, if I go back up here, Chicago, see, it says play Kmet all day long, so I might be a little conservative in that ranking. So, see, you need to consider this data and what I'm doing and try to make it make sense in your head. And again, fill in your diary. Here's Detroit. Goff I got as QB2 this week. I don't like the D. I don't like the kicker. Goff is high uncertainty. I don't know what we're going to get. Williams seemed like the safe play. Him and Swift, I think are going to cut each other's time. I got Swift as high uncertainty given his injury, and I just don't know how he comes back yet. He may need another week, but I played him if I got him, but I'm not happy about it. I'm not playing the tight ends. St. Brown could give us a lot or little, and I do rank him. And average uncertainty. Maybe it should be high uncertainty. I don't know. But it's not low uncertainty. So I do have a level of concern there. So go through, look at my rankings, look at the DAPS, look at what Vegas, look at the snap data, combine it and say, oh, that's going to take time. Hey, what do you want, right? So, yes, you got to chop some wood, get a fire. So I'm not going to tell you, yes, in blood, this is what's going to happen. That's ridiculous. Okay? We're constantly weighing data and thinking and thinking and thinking. And the more thinking, the better. I think about thinking. Yeah. Okay. I think that's all I got to say here. The games that I'm worried about, we talked about these in the podcast. There's 4 sad games this week. Giants, Texans, Saints, Steelers, Titans, Broncos, Raiders, Colts. And 2 of those could be garbage time situations here, and 2 of them are back and forth, and probably not sure who wins there. So I'm not kind of happy about all that. You can look at the DAPS, you can sort through the data and see what all of it means to you. Okay, I wish you good luck. Thank you for listening. Listen to the podcast, go see the article, and get deep in this. Okay, woo woo, let's crush week 10.